Why did he own so much of it? That's a lot of money. I haven't heard of any of them. Generic intro into that goes Moo here, back with another What Happened video by McMuscles. Today we're doing Midway games, which I'm very familiar with for some reason. Like, the name just rings a bell in my head, like maybe one of my childhood video games was made by Midway Games. I don't think they exist anymore, as this Watch Mojo video right here where it has Neversoft, which I believe they made the Tony Hawk games that I grew up playing as well. But obviously I see, what is that, Mortal Kombat, I want to say? Mortal Kombat, I'm not really sure what the green monster, I don't know if that's Godzilla, I don't know if that's a dragon, I don't really know. You can check out my reaction to the last What Happened video by McMuscles. It was Daikatana, which means big sword in Japanese, but apparently there was actually no big sword in that game. It was by George Romero. You can check out my reaction to that video, leave it right up there. Also the link down below in the description, and maybe make a playlist for all the McMuscles What Happened videos, because I've been enjoying them a lot, learning about things I've never heard of George Romero or you know, Daikatana, but I've heard of Midway, so we're watching this one. Also, PR, I know you said you wanted me to do the Duke Nukem Forever game development or whatever, which is like a bunch of lawsuits, the longest game ever in development. I know nothing about Duke Nukem, so that would be completely uncharted territory for me, but thank you so much for being here. Shout out to patrons. They get all the videos a day early for $3 a month. I could not do this if it was not for them. I really could not do this if it was not for them. I do read all your comments, whether you're a patron or not, whether you're subscribed or not, so I hope you are subscribed to future videos. Also, likes are super important, so if you enjoy the video, a like is always appreciated. But we're going to learn about what happened to Midway Games. Alright, Midway Games. For some reason, it rings like a very vivid bell in my head. Like, I played a game made by Midway Games, and I don't know what it was.
Welcome
But
once
something
again
happened to
to
them.
another episode of What Happened that
What
has been
happened?
a very long time coming, as Midway is a company that's been mentioned on this
It's also
show
a battle.
at least 321 times by my last count.
Did they
While
actually
they
count
had
it, or did
released an
somebody in the comments do it?
extraordinary amount of fan-favorite games under their banner, they had just as many
Which
misses
ones?
and oodles of
Oh.
financial
Oh.
mismanagement.
You want some fries with that whoop ass?
Therefore, Midway's
I mean-
long, protracted 10-year death march
protract.
to bankruptcy is
10
ripe to
year?
be exposed on our stage. So grab your ninja spear and get ready
I'm sorry,
to jam.
is that
It's
Mortal
time to
Kombat
find out
basketball?
What happened to Midway?
Boom,
The Battle of Midway.
It's 1958.
Ooh.
Jesus. And Midway Manufacturing was founded in Franklin Park, Illinois, where they
Ooh.
specialized in the pumping out of cheesy amusement machines dripping in
Okay.
Americana. Rifle games, pinball,
Yep.
and I don't know, spitting into metal cans. Why not?
Spittoons.
In 1969, Midway was purchased
Nice.
by Bally, who are a
Oh.
big name in the pinball world.
They are
and
still-
recently
they
had
are a
become
massive
giant
name.
in the slot machine market.
Yep.
And they wanted a company that could
wanna say
capitalize
their-
on these new
their sports networks is
arcade
going away or
machines
something,
that
right?
could display computer graphics, produce sound, and run via coin operation.
And in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me
When was
5
that?
B's for a quarter, you'd say.
During the 70s,
What?
Midway built a close relationship with Taito, distributing
I don't know
each
any-
other's games in their
know
respective
any-
regions. Most notably, Taito's biggest hit ever, save for violence
I know
fight,
Buffalo
Space
Nickels.
Invaders.
Invaders,
Oh.
possibly from space.
Possibly?
As you
Where
can
else would they be
imagine,
from?
This catapulted Midway
Isn't everything in
to the
space,
forefront
technically?
of the American arcade scene with aplomb. Midway was able to survive the video game crash of the early 80s thanks in
Oh.
part to the publishing deals with Namco and Taito. They continued to release arcade games at a regular
Wait, why-
clip without any
were the 70s just a
internally
bad-
developed smash
70s
hits
and 80s
until
like a bad time
1986,
economically?
where they very much released
Like-
a smash hit.
Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
Rampage did very well in the arcades for Midway.
Never heard
so
of it.
well, in fact, that it would find itself ported to 11 home consoles over the next
Oh, yeah,
few
that's when
years.
everybody was trying to make a
This
home
may
console.
have been the epiphany Midway needed to realize how lucrative the home market could be, but they would never be able to fully execute on that lesson. More on that later.
why?
Then, in 1988,
It was
Williams,
still.
remember
I
that
was born in
name? You can see it
1997,
all
so
over MK3,
Mortal Kombat 3. I've never played Mortal
Valley
Kombat
Midway
ever.
for
I still
some
need to do
reason.
the fatalities.
Capitalism, I guess.
Like, I have been talking about reacting
Williams
to the
also
Mortal
made
Kombat
pinball and arcade games,
fatalities
but were
for
based
probably
out of
5
Chicago.
years
And
now.
once the purchase was finalized, they moved all of Midway's operations to the Windy City as well.
Okay.
As the blinding neon of the 90s
Also, I
started
mean,
to
they're that
shine,
close to
pinball's
Chicago anyway.
luster
They're in the
began to
north
fade.
part, so-
Williams/Midway saw
northern
declining
side.
revenues from their pinball division, so they decided to shift their focus to arcade games as their main money
Yes.
spinner. And goddamn, did they ever wind up spinning some money. such as Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2, Revolution X, and on top of them all,
There's gonna be a game somewhere, I know.
it can't be overstated just how successful
Well, maybe I
this
saw them in
lineup was,
arcades, 'cause there's
especially
like a
Mortal
barcade
Kombat
in my-
and NBA Jam.
in my town,
Hell,
my
MK2's arcade dominance
England's my
is what
city.
frightened Capcom enough to hire another Chicago-based company
Incredible technology.
Wow, what a name.
to digitize actors for the next Street Fighter.
At least it's not Incredible
For more
Incorporated,
info
so it's
on
just
that
Inc.
whole debacle, Slam Master into this video right here.
Oh,
They
okay.
didn't
I've
just make
done
their
that.
own arcade blockbusters, though, as they also saw
Yeah, that's
value in
literally like
manufacturing and
what you see at
distributing
a arcade.
cabinets
Like,
for other
yeah.
companies like Rare and Nintendo,
I've
resulting
heard
in
of those.
two Killer Instinct titles, as well as Cruisin' USA.
Cruisin' USA is an unparalleled video.
Wait a minute.
All of these games had something in common. They were
Is that-
all over the top in the best possible
Is that how I know
ways,
them?
and would draw a crowd either through violence or attractive visuals, both very important.
'Cause I did grow
in the
up
90s
playing
game
racing
market.
games.
To put it simply, kids loved what Midway was selling. So while things were booming in hazy, smoke-filled maze-like
And
arcades,
how did they
there was
fumble the
still
bag?
money being left on the table in the home market. While ports of Mortal Kombat and
They-
NBA
they
Jam
probably
were doing gangbusters, Midway's deal with Acclaim
relate to
publish
something.
them was
They did not
reportedly
adapt.
very much in Acclaim's favor. While all the arcade
Like, they didn't-
profits
like, they
were
didn't
Midway's
adapt in
keep,
time.
the real money was going
And they got left in the
elsewhere.
dust.
And in NBA Jam's case, it was paying for the IP itself. This is because Acclaim was
Yep.
actually able to wrest control of the name NBA Jam from
Wait,
Midway.
wait,
or the
not just like the
combination of
NBA
two words,
licensing.
NBA and Jam, since they obviously couldn't own the NBA brand name itself.
They literally
This
took
is why you
the
saw
name
weird
of the
Jam
game.
games that nobody played, leaving
Oh.
Midway to make do with the
Why is
likes
his
of
head so big?
NBA Hang Time and NBA
Also the
Showtime,
Grizzlies when they
which,
were in
while
Canada.
fun, would have probably done a lot better if they had been able to
Mm-hmm.
continue with the NBA Jam moniker.
Also, the old Warriors logo.
Acclaim's third
Oh,
quarter
Penny Hardaway.
steal of the Jam name is what spurred Williams /
Or is that Tim
Midway to
Hardaway?
start publishing
Could
their own titles for the home, making sure they wouldn't need to jockey with other publishers in the future.
I gotta put me
Dude,
first.
the
I gotta
pixels.
put me first. I gotta put me first.
Fortunately, this move went fairly smoothly.
Why
for
does that
the
tree have
rest
a
of the
face on
90s, when the term arcade perfect still meant something. But as the
Huh?
new millennium dawned,
I've never heard that
arcades
before.
became less and less busy.
They're
The
becoming more
industry
popular
at
now,
large
but-
started to look past the arcades and towards the PlayStation and N64, which are offering longer and more feature-rich experiences.
Yep.
Midway suddenly realized they needed to get their shit
Yep.
together.
Like I
Now,
said,
while Midway
they were getting
had
left
excelled in
behind.
arcades, their home offerings were meager compared to other arcade giants like Capcom, who for the last 2 decades had built up a
Oh, Mega Man.
massive collection
I need to
of
do
home
Game
console
Champ
brands.
3000's Mega Man
Midway
video.
didn't
that
exactly
she just
have
did.
that, and simple arcade ports weren't
Game
going
Champ
to
3000
cut
watch
it
my
as
videos,
the
was
industry
awesome.
moved rapidly forward.
Man, stay off the light speed.
My bad.
Knowing they need to increase their workforce and stable their franchises for this big paradigm shift, Midway bought out arcade competitor Atari Games,
Wait.
best known for series like Gauntlet, Primal Rage, and
Oh,
San
Atari
Francisco
Games,
Rush.
not
The
like
first
a-
few years
Atari.
under new management
That's
weren't
probably like a
bad, as Atari
subsidy,
did
right?
put out Rush 2049, Gauntlet Dark Legacy, and War Final Assault. Whoa!
Oh.
Anyone remember this one?
No.
But it also resulted in a few canceled projects,
Like-
most famously Primal Rage 2.
But we
This
got
acquisition
Daikatama.
happened very
Daikatama.
fast
Why did I say
and caused some
Daikatama?
brand awareness issues. Mace the Dark Age, for example, was unabashedly an Atari title, but the home version, which released only a few months later,
was
would
Mid-
be published under Midway. This use
Okay.
of the Atari name on their titles
License-
post-acquisition would cause some
Huh?
confusion among
Yeah,
fans.
like,
and
whose
the
game
studio
is
would
it?
eventually be renamed to Midway Games West in 1999.
Oh,
It's also
okay.
around this time where Midway started publishing and financing a lot of stuff, even teaming up
what
with
am I
id
even
Software
looking
to
at?
develop and publish a string of fantastic FPS ports for modern consoles. Doom on the PlayStation, Doom 64,
Doom
and a whole
64.
shitload of Quake.
You can play Doom on a
I
calculator,
could go
can't you?
deep on all these cool ports, but I
think
gotta
Linus
stay
Tech
on
Tips did
task.
that.
And honestly,
Like
you
a
can just check
TI-84.
out Grunkle Derek's various videos on them over on Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
That's a
All of
great
this
channel
is to
name.
say that Midway was spending and publishing a lot. without being super careful about what those products were. For every Mortal Kombat
so they were greenlighting
trilogy,
everything.
Blitz or Doom, there was a Chopper Attack, Assault Retribution, or Mortal Kombat Special Forces.
Kano,
What?
you're gonna pay for this.
This is why 1999 was the last time Midway posted a net profit. From then on out, they were starting to outspend what they were making. This came to a head in 2001, where they dumped their arcade division
June
entirely,
22nd, 2001,
which,
okay.
recently had been their bread and butter. They're going all in on console. So, for the first time ever, Mortal Kombat had to provide an experience that was more than just sucking away my quarters thanks to its shitty input reading AI.
Wait, what?
It had to
Is that a
provide
thing?
a more feature-rich experience.
Also, aren't arcades like not
This
the
is
best
why
like
Ed Boon and
quality
his expanded
stuff if you
team
want like
designed content
frame
like
perfect stuff?
Conquest Mode, the Crypt, and other things beginning
The-
with K.
wait, the
Therefore,
Crypt.
flows
Was that a-
logically why Mortal Kombat Deadly
There's a
Alliance
JonTron video
took
talking about the Crypt,
longer.
right?
It was more expensive to make than any other game in the series up to that point, and the same rule likely applied to pretty much every other Midway IP.
So they
there
just
were
kept
some
getting more
highlights
and
over
more
the
expensive.
years, like Mortal Kombat, Shaolin Monks, Psyops, the Mindgate Conspiracy, and the Suffering, even more money would
why?
be burned in dumpsters like Dr. Muto, Narc, Haven, Call of the King, and Gauntlet 7 Sorrows.
I haven't heard of
all
any of
failing
them.
spectacularly at retail.
What could possibly
I wonder if
go
they're
wrong?
worth anything.
Now, it's 2003, which was a very interesting
Also, next
year
video should
for
probably be
the
a Scott
company
Waz
due
video.
to two reasons. One, the hiring of David Zucker to the role of Midway CEO,
Zucker?
hot
Okay.
off his stint of being president of Playboy Enterprises, and two, Sumner Redstone, the late billionaire, who would eventually own around 87% of Midway's stock when all was said and done.
Wow.
And basically
Why?
shielded Midway for the next 7 years of losses. On the flip side,
Did he
despite
need,
Zucker's
like, a
hiring
tax
was
break or
meant
something?
to bring the company back to profitability,
Why did he own so
he
much
did
of
the
it?
exact
That's a
opposite.
lot of money.
Midway lost
I think it's a billionaire, but, like, still.
$108.5 million in 2005, $72 million in 2006,
Okay,
$78 million
Oh, no,
in
they were going in the right
2007,
direction.
and so on and so forth.
I am never gonna financially recover.
Oh, what is that?
What didn't help these losses was Zucker's
Tiger
insistence
King?
to adopt
Or what- I never
Unreal
watched
Engine
it.
3 as the engine that would power all of their upcoming AAA releases. So royalties
Like,
would
that looked
have
like
to be
Gears of
paid
War.
out for every success and failure alike. Speaking of financial failures,
so they couldn't-
Stranglehold.
Oh.
Do me a favor. Kill yourself.
Oh,
This
no,
was
don't do
Midway's
that.
first internally developed AAA HD game.
That makes
And
sense.
one that hurt the company immensely in
They're-
the long run.
they're making terrible
Bringing in
games, but
director
they're having to
John
pay
Woo,
to
his
use the
production
engine.
company Tiger Hill, Chow Yun Fat, an expensive engine, a corporate mandated multiplayer mode, and a big marketing campaign sent the dollar doves flying over $30 million in development costs. To put that
For a
into
game in the
perspective,
early 2000s?
Assassin's Creed, which released that same
first
year,
Assassin's Creed?
cost $20 million. But
From
while
what,
Altair
Ubisoft?
slashed up over 8 million copies in 15 months, Inspector Tequila only managed a vague 1 million units, which meant
You
it
know-
missed Midway's target of 1.5.
Yeah, honestly,
This
a
was
million
kind of
units-
embarrassing when you consider European Midway
It's
rep
better than-
following quote. In order to recoup development money, you obviously have to sell a lot of units.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing to date is that we will
profit
sell
margin
those
isn't
units. Stranglehold will be the top-selling title this Christmas. It was not.
It was not with
This
Assassin's Creed
wasn't
coming
even
out.
Midway's only high-profile disaster. There were also the 2 years wasted on developing Fear and Respect, a GTA-like sandbox game starring
the
Snoop
Uzi.
Dogg and written by the late
What?
John Singleton. This was given a
No idea.
lavish spread in Game Informer and was slated for an ambitious
got
cross-gen
the Glock?
debut on multiple
Okay.
formats. Even though it
Okay.
was slated to come out in 2006, the only thing that did happen
This
that
is the one for
year
my desk
was
gun.
its quiet cancellation.
This is what I carry.
David Zucker reasoned that this was at least partially owed to the increasingly crowded status of the open world sandbox genre, and Midway
Oh, look at all
didn't
these games
wanna
I've never played.
rehash old ideas. Anyway, he did add that Midway was still working with both Singleton and Snoop to make another game.
I feel like Snoop
which
Dogg
they
taking
never
a lot of
did.
brand deals.
It's all good. I ain't tripping. Them bitches didn't know no better.
Let's not forget about the commercial bomb that was Black Site Area 51, a soulless Call of Duty-esque take on the old arcade franchise that the legendary Harvey
So did
Smith
they
had been
just,
working
like,
on. When asked about
were they
this
trying to
game's
copy
rushed
other games, or are they
development,
just
he
late?
stated, And I quote, "That project was so fucked up." Midway fired him soon after.
Yeah,
but there was,
he probably saw it
without a
coming.
doubt,
That's why he did
one
it.
disaster more expensive and embarrassing than all the rest. Clocking in somewhere between $40 and $50 million was Midway and Warner Brothers' joint venture. This is Vegas. It was a lavish open-world recreation of the City of Sin that was dripping with gambling,
I have a feeling
fighting,
the problem with that
racing,
is the
dancing,
rating
and,
is going to
other
be
activities. But don't play the game after 10 p.m.
It gets a little blue.
Midway sunk millions and millions into this thing for years. Liam Robertson has a great video on it. And when it was finally starting to shape up, the Midway money men then realized they simply wouldn't even be able to afford to release it. David Zucker, for all these failures, was ousted by the shareholders in early 2008.
What do you mean shareholders? One dude owned 87%, or I'm not sure when he passed, but
don't feel too badly though. He landed safely via an appropriately sized golden parachute.
Of course, they always do.
Now,
all
if Midway was
CEOs.
losing tens of millions of dollars in operating costs every year, how did they even manage to stay afloat for a decade?
A billionaire?
Well, that would be loans. Loans that would need to be paid.
Yep.
See, the other thing that happened in 2008 was that Sumner
what happened in
Redstone
2008?
had sold his shares in Midway to a mysterious investor
Wait, when did he?
by the name
December
of Mark Thomas
2008.
for a
So that was
mere
after.
$100,000, way less than their value.
He got
What
out.
that meant was that Thomas would inherit the $70 million debt that Midway owed from various loans.
But
This
he
change
knew
of
that he was
hands
never going to pay
also
that
the
back.
green light for these creditors to demand what was due to them. But neither Midway or Thomas had that kind of cheddar, and thus
Bankruptcy.
they just filed for bankruptcy.
Chapter 11.
Then after that, Sumner and Thomas were embroiled in some type of litigation. Their deal might not have been on the up and up, shocker there. But
well
more
over
importantly,
$150
there were
million.
some cool games that were lost to all this corporate boobery. MK vs. DC was stated to get a bunch of DLC fighters, but wound up getting none. Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice, the sequel to Shaolin Monks, was canceled when the studio Midway San Diego was sold to THQ.
Midway
Gunrunner,
seemed like a
follow-up to
they had that
Stranglehold,
crazy
if you can believe
valuation
it,
at one
never
point.
got out of pre-production.
What was their market
And
cap?
finally, there
Also,
was Hero,
okay,
an
one way to hold an
ambitious
MP5.
open-world action game much in the style of Infamous or Prototype, which was also canceled. Midway's assets were then put on the chopping block, with everything getting snapped up by the brothers Warner for something like $33 million back in 2009, which included Midway's main Chicago studio, which was rechristened to WB Games Chicago.
Does that still exist?
Which was rechristened once more as NetherRealm less than a year later. Now, some of you might not even be aware of this, but Warner Brothers didn't just get Mortal Kombat, but all of the IPs that were under Midway's banner. The
for
same
$33
IPs
million?
which WB do absolutely nothing with today. Aside from a Gauntlet reboot, a terrible Rampage
what did they
update,
do with that
and
purchase?
Oh, wait, no, that's it. Yeah, there's no Spy Hunter, Primal Rage, The Suffering, PsyOps, San Francisco Rush, The Grid. It's sad that 40 plus years of arcade
They could have just stuck with Mortal Kombat, couldn't they?
Sit there,
like they could have just done Mortal Kombat.
Look at that. There's minuscule references to all that history in this one Mortal Kombat 11 stage. Thanks for okaying that, WB.
Yeah.
Oof. So that was Midway's glorious rise and its less than glorious fall. But if you out there would like to know more about what happened to any other games,
I learned a lot in this video.
Let me know in the comments.
Learned a lot of how not
Twitter,
to run a gaming company.
Flophouse VIP Patreon.
Yes, you can also do that because these videos are amazing.
See you next time, and thanks for watching.
Okay, why does it kind of remind me of a pretty dope song? I just don't want to be copyrighted. It does remind me of a Rocket League song, though. But this was Midway Games. What happened? I have heard in a Midway. I don't think I played any of their, any of my childhood games were made by Midway. That I know. I don't know. I have some very obscure video games I played in my childhood. Like the Bible game is one of those things. And like Midtown Madness 2. I love that game. Oh, the Koenigsegg being the only car in the game with like the maxed out stats, and the Viper as well. Oh, that game was amazing. Yeah, no. My mom actually recently went through and found my childhood video games, like all of them, like Xbox, like the original Xbox and 360 stuff and a whole bunch of stuff. I actually have some pictures of it and kind of like the entire collection. So I should probably look through that to see if there's any Midway games. I might actually do a video or put that in a video of me just like going through my childhood video games, or maybe I can do a stream out of it and maybe see which ones I can actually play, which ones are backwards compatible, maybe take a trip down memory lane if you also have that, and maybe you would get a little insight into my childhood that people say I never had. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what the next one should be. Like I said, Pierre was suggesting Duke Nukem Forever. I know nothing about Duke Nukem, and apparently that was like the longest game in development ever. Also, is that Balan's Wonderworld? Oh god. Anthem? Oh lord. Oh, what? The GameCube? I had a GameCube. It was great. What in the world happened here? Okay. Oh, Devil May Cry. I actually just started Devil May Cry 2. Yeah, I'm playing this Devil May Cry for the very first time. It's on my gaming channel where I upload my Saturday stream VODs. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I hope I made it a tiny little better. I look forward to reading your comments. But until next video, take care and cue the music.